Hi, my name is Konnor Kost, and today I'll be reviewing The 10th of December by George Saunders, which is actually a 2013 New York Times bestseller. Before I begin, I want to discuss the life of George Saunders himself. George Saunders was born in 1958 and grew up in the Chicago region. He decided to pursue his writing career and moved to Syracuse. He has a Master's of Fine Arts from Syracuse University. Some of his notable works include Civil War Land and Bad Decline, Pastoralia, and Persuasion Nation. He has worked with The New Yorker since 1992. Some of his other works have been included in the New York Times and also GQ. Some of his awards he has are the 2002 Best Writers Under 40. He was mentioned by The New Yorker. Also, he has experience behind him with the Guggenheim Fellowship and also the MacArthur Fellowship. One of his most notable awards, though, was an Academy Award from the American Academy of Arts and Letters. For my short story, first one, I like to include Victory Lap, which is about the attempted kidnapping of a teenage girl, and it follows three essential character perspectives, one being the character of Allison Pope, the other being the neighbor named Kyle Boot, the third being the attacker himself. The story is described as a hero's journey story, as the neighbor Kyle overcomes his fears and actually battles with the attacker to save Allison. He actually has internal and external battles, which actually makes it a hero's journey story. Also is a coming-of-age story, as the main character Allison Pope is losing her innocence and gaining a better perspective on the dangerous reality. Allison describes as an innocent girl who actually is almost turning 15 and likes to socialize. Some of his quotes that Saunders describes in her nature as being innocent are, "That is so not true. Don't you understand? All people deserve respect. Each of us is a rainbow." Then we're introduced to Kyle Boot, who lives right next door to Allison. Kyle actually is really constricted by his parents, who make him do housework constantly and don't let him have any freedom, really. Kyle then notices a gray van outside of his house pulling up to Allison's house. The man out of the van comes to Allison's door and starts to grab her, but she actually just thinks he's a postal worker. Kyle's still contemplating where to act. Fearing the consequence of his parents, decides to go out and grabs a rock, just throws it right onto the windshield of the car, and breaks the windshield open. This breaks the rules of the parents, or the directives as he calls them, but he still does it because he knows the good of the situation. After the attacker is hit, he knows he's in trouble, and he's described as follows. He realized in a flash of insight there was a name for the place he would be then, and it was hell. This describes the nature of the attacker through the actual perspective of him. Allison gets a chance to go out and call 911, while Kyle stands over the attacker with a rock and decides not to actually hit him again. This event actually later traumatizes both of them, with Allison being shown to have nightmares months later, but is comforted by her parents. There's no actually back ending for Kyle Boot, though it's assumed that his parents did not scold him as much as for this situation. For my second short story, I want to include Sticks, which actually revolves around the relationship of a father and his children. The story is first person, revolving around the narrator being one of his children. The dad puts a metal pull-up for every occasion, and it becomes a tradition, dressed up with every holiday. On 4th of July, the pole was Uncle Sam. On Veterans Day, a soldier. On Halloween, Ghost. The pole was Dad's one concession to Glee. It also worth noting that the dad was very strict and scolding to his children, which Saunders subtly includes. He states, "Where we were allowed a single Crayola from a box at a time. On Christmas Eve, he shrieked at Kimmy for wasting an apple slice. Now once the children are grown up, they want no connection to their father. The father continues to dress up the pole, even for the deaths of their mother, leaving him alone. Soon, he attaches 6 strings to the pole, representing his children, along with apology notes for each of them." The story states, "He painted a sign saying, 'Love,' and hung it from the pole, and another has said, 'Forgive?' The father dies, and the house is sold. The new couple living there rips out the pole and leaves it for garbage. The pole in the story is actually symbolic, as it represents the father's passion and happiness. Larry represents himself." I thought both of these short stories were very enjoyable. With Victory Lap, it was very entertaining to see the journey that Kyle Boot and also Allison went through. It was also different to see the perspective of the attacker. And I like how the character Kyle Boot was developed in accordance to how he is saving Allison in the situation as long as going into the internal conflicts. What I liked about Sticks was that it showed over time, the different perspective the children have of the father, with the father participating in meaningless tasks like a pull, but the pull actually representing more in the end.